Right, it's a complex. So we manage this refuge, Billy Frank Jr. Nisqually National Wildlife Refuge, also the Black River Unit, and Grays Harbor National Wildlife Refuge in Hoquiam along the coast. So it was established in 1974. Prior to that, back in the late 1880s, it was purchased for farming, agriculture. It was one of the most progressive farms around in the western side of Washington. They had cows, they had milking cows, they had crops, but they processed everything on site and then sent it off elsewhere to be shipped and exported out. So it was a very extensive and very big farm. About 2,000 acres was acquired. And in the early 1900s, 1904, they started building a dike. We called it the Old Brown Farm Dike. This dike was 5 miles long, and what it did was it encompassed about 1,000 acres of the tidal, the estuary. The intent was to convert it for agriculture. So 1,000 acres of this previously tidal habitat was closed off to tides for a century. But the importance of this refuge for the community is pretty outstanding. Prior to being a refuge, there were plans to turn this estuary into a port similar to what you see in Tacoma development. It was also an idea of it becoming a landfill was proposed. The community is who stepped forward and wanting to protect the estuary and not have it develop. So it was a community effort. Non-government organizations got together and really pushed for establishing this as a refuge, and that was established in 1974. It's pretty amazing. And sometimes I hear that traffic noise, and other times I hear birds that are louder than the traffic noise. So I think that's the point, is that so close to urban development, and certainly I-5, which is as busy as it is, there's a refuge that you can get off of the exit and come into the refuge and get lost. Basically just being enveloped by the sounds of nature and birds and the smells of a mud flat as it's low tide. So that's the key to this site, and I think that's what makes it really special. We have a number of visitors that come on a regular basis because it's easy to access. The trails are easily accessible, they're flat, but go through a diversity of habitats. Annually we have different species, so in a sense it's a refuge for people too.
So the spot that we're standing, I chose to come out here because when I get out here, it's a place for me, it's the first place I really feel good about sharing with kids where they can see it. This place where people have said, you know, we made a mistake in terms of how we changed the land in order that wildlife could live here, right? That we impacted this land, people before us impacted this land in a way that it wasn't super great for wildlife. But the coolest thing about here is not just focusing on a mistake, but here is a chance to show kids that people have put in years and years of planning, lots of money, lots of effort to actually say, we're gonna do the really hard work that's necessary. We're gonna put in the time and the effort to try and fix this. So one of the cool things about groups that come out here is learning how to meet a group where they are. Many days I'll have kids come in, and one of the first questions I ask them is to try to compare this wildlife refuge to a zoo, and that helps me to kind of know, like, hey, do they really get where they're at? Do they understand the kinds of things that are happening here, the kinds of animals that live here? I mean, some days kids will come out here and they know all kinds of stuff that I either have never even heard or I didn't learn until college, and it's super amazing. Some days kids come out here and they have no idea where they are. They might not even know that it's a wildlife refuge. And so we really start there on the field trip of, okay, let's really think about what this place is. And one of my favorite times on the trail of meeting a kid where they were at was when I was out with a group of 8th grade boys, and we're all standing just by some freshwater wetlands, and we're looking, these mallards are really close to us. And I always try to, robins and mallards, I'm still gonna try and really stay focused on them, because a lot of kids, even if they've seen them before, they've never looked at them. And so we're sitting and watching these mallards, and they're just kind of swimming around, finding some food, and all of a sudden the whole flock takes off. And right as they do, this 8th grade boy just jumps back and goes, "Oh my God, ducks fly!" And that was such a moment for me. It was sort of a extreme version of what I get to experience every day, which is just meeting kids where they're at and saying, okay, that day, that lesson for that 8th grader was ducks fly. Like, we're gonna focus on that. We're not gonna say, oh, I can't believe you didn't know that ducks fly, or somehow that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. This is your day to learn that. It's time to find out that ducks fly right now.